Hey guys, this is Simeon here. In this video, we are going to an old abandoned chicken coop that hasn't been used for decades on this farm. And we are going to start to plan it for reintroducing chickens to it so that we can have some fresh eggs here on the farm. Now I'm going to walk you through 10 essential elements of a chicken coop, look at where the chicken coop is at right now, what we're going to fix and change. And at the end of the video, I'm going to give you guys 2 bonus tips on the chicken coop and keeping chickens healthy. Stay tuned. It has been a very cold and crisp night. Put the cows in the stable early this morning, and now I'm gonna let them out, and then I'm gonna take you guys to the chicken coop that's connected to the cow stable on the other side. I've shown it real quick in a different video, but I'm gonna show you more in detail now. By the way, one more thing, if you guys have seen our video that we posted recently about hay and nutrition and minerals in cattle, and about the diet, then you understand that I was right when you see how these guys are eating the straw to balance their digestive system. They're crazy about it, even though right around the corner here they have hay. I love this approach where you give them free choice and they know what's best for them, much more than we do. Okay, cows are out. The old chicken coop, what used to be the chicken coop here on the farm, is behind this door, and there's always a cow waiting here. Let's see if she's there. Okay, normally she stands like right by the door here. Anyway, let's go. No, I don't have hay for you guys right now. I just want to go to the chicken coop. Can I do that? Can I do that? Is that okay with you? That's the door I want to go to. If you guys want some feed, you have to go around. It's on the other side, okay? Can I go here? Oh man, a frozen cow pile. Can I even get this door open? No. One of my 10 points was literally about the door and accessibility. And now I have to pry this open. I have to use some kind of tool to get the frozen cow poop away. So I can't even get in there. That's kind of hilarious. Number 2. Okay, this is the old chicken coop, what was used on this farm for chickens. It hasn't been used for that in decades, but I've gotten the okay. We want some chickens, we have kitchen scraps, we want them to produce free eggs for us, and we have gotten the okay to transform this. Now we want to do this the right way. I have a lot of experience with poultry already. In the 90s, my father was breeding poultry and I grew up with that. And then I ran a hatchery business in Sweden. We had egg mobiles, we had chickshaws, we had chicken tractors, and I've continued with different chicken tractor models here. But this is about a chicken coop. And I'm going to give you 10 elements of what would be really good to think about when you create your own chicken coop. The first thing I want to talk about is the ground, the bedding, okay? When I grew up around poultry in the 90s, we had very little sawdust on the ground and we had boards under the roosts, and you had to clean this out at least once a week, ideally more often. It was a lot of work and it smelled. It was not good. Now what you want on your ground is you want a frame about 1 foot high all around the coop, and you want to fill it up with carbon-rich material. This can be chopped straw, this can be wood shavings, this can be a little bit finer wood chips. And what you do with that is you create a habitat where all the chicken manure will right away be able to be absorbed and chemically stabilized in the deep bedding. If you throw a few handfuls of grain in there a week or a little handful every day, the chickens will dig and dig under their own manure. It will not smell. It is a lot healthier for the chickens. Over time it produces heat, so they have some heat from the bottom, and the chickens overall stay healthier on this. You will only have to clean this out once a year, okay? If you want the chickens to be able to really dig in all the manure into the deep bedding on their own by throwing some grain in there and having them scratch, you cannot have more than 3 chickens per square meter, okay? Now that is, I think, about 3 square feet per chicken. So you need to keep that balance. Next, I will install nesting boxes here. Now, it is important with nesting boxes that they are going to be not right on the ground, because then other chickens look in there and disturb the chickens that are laying. You want it a little bit up, but you want it low enough so that the roosts will be higher. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. The roosts need to be higher so the chickens don't go into the nesting boxes for sleeping. And if that is an issue, you need to create nesting boxes that you can close up at night. But there are tricks like putting the roosts up higher, nesting boxes lower, and also keeping a little light closer to the nesting boxes, the roosts a little further away. And then the chickens, when it gets darker outside naturally, they will go back to the darker side of the stable and go on the roosts. They will not go into the bright chicken nesting boxes. So think of that. Next are the roosts, okay? There is a certain measurement, about 4 inches per chicken, that you should have on the roosts. I do not recommend metal. Metal gets very slippery for the chickens, even though it has benefits like no mites go into the cracks like in wood. But you want the roosts to be easily reachable for the chickens. There's a lot of arguing about should you have roosts at different level or at the same level. I like them at different levels because there is hierarchy among the chickens. But you want the roosts in the darker, further back area of the stable. Now, there's also challenges with roosts, and I know there are farmers who don't use roosts. Here in Europe, it is required by law. The funny thing is that all chickens that I've had, you know, chickens don't roost when they're young. They are on the ground in a bush under their mother's wings. When they get older, yeah, they go up, but when they're young, which the law here requires to train them, then they can actually get misshaped chests. So it's all nonsense, the whole law is. But when you get chickens, you often have to train them to the roosts. And again, this is one of these things, give the chickens the choice. So Joel Salatin, for example, doesn't use roosts. When you have roosts, all the manure will gather under it, and when you have the deep bedding, you might have to go there with a rake or a fork and just mix it up a little bit, because most of the manure load will end up there. Number 4 is the placement of the waterer. Now, water and chicken works quite well because they don't make such a mess. It's a whole different story with ducks or geese, but it can still get wet. They get a little water here when drinking. It drips on the deep bedding. It could freeze. It makes it muddy. It starts stinking. So what we have here, this has been used as a chicken coop. The farmer made a hole here and sometimes throws hay down there for the cows. We're going to close that up for the cows. We don't use that anyway. We're going to take advantage of this. We're going to build a frame and put some thicker wire on there that doesn't cut the chicken's feet. And then we're going to put the waterer there so the chickens jump up on that and will drink, and any water will drip down and not into the deep bedding. It's important that you find a spot with the waterer that you can easily reach. It's right by the door here for us, that you can clean out easily. And also, if it's on that and not on the deep bedding, you don't get as many wood shavings and dirt into the waterer. Then next we have feeder placement. Where do you put the feeder? Well, you also want to have that a little higher so that when they scratch the deep bedding, it doesn't fill up the feeder. And I also recommend having it close to the door. You can have a feeder hanging from the ceiling high up, or you can have it standing on the ground or attached to the wall. But have it somewhere close that if you're late to church and you're wearing your Sunday clothes and the chicken needs some extra feed, you don't want to have to go into the stable and get all messy. You want to have it close to the door, be able to just put a scoop in. We are going to feed our chickens just with food scraps, and that way we are not needing a feeder. But you can only do that if you have enough food scraps for your chickens. Really quickly, before we go to the next point, I just want to say and remind you guys, tomorrow I am doing a live stream at 4 p.m. my time, Vienna time in Europe. It's going to be about chicken tractors, all about chicken tractors. I've worked with different designs. I've raised pasture poultry. We're going to talk about this. We're going to go into the design, into the feed, into the pros and cons, all of that. And at the end, you will be able to ask questions. And if you watch this video after the live stream has aired, you will still be able to go back and watch it afterwards. Next, the pop door, the little door that the chickens go in and out through. We are going to create a hole in this existing door, and we're going to create it right here, and we'll have to manually close it and open it during the days. There are automated chicken door openers. We don't do that here. It's not, it's too expensive for us. But we're going to put it there, going to make it wide enough that the chickens can go in there without getting stuck. If you have more chickens, you might want to have it quite wide, maybe 3 feet, or you might want to have a couple so that all chickens really can go out, also those that are lower in hierarchy. We're going to put it there, and we're going to close them up at night because of predator issues, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. That then leads me to the human door, okay? You just saw me earlier struggling to open that door. The cows have access. I might possibly lock out the cows from there, but you want the human door at the place where you can easily go in and out, where you ideally don't have to, dig through 3 feet of snow or fight against a rain or windstorm when you go there, and have a little bit of a dry area right in front where you can stomp off your feet so you don't carry all that moisture into the chicken coop. You want it close to where the waterer is and so on. And in a tiny coop like this that you can empty, in an hour by hand, it doesn't matter. But if you have a bigger chicken coop, you might want to have a wider door at floor level that you can just open up and drive in with a front end loader or something at the floor level so that you can just scoop out the chicken stable. For this would have been perfect with a bigger door here, 2 wings maybe, that you can just drive in and empty this whole floor. In our case, that's out of the budget. Next point is feed storage. You saw in this video that this is connected to the cow stable. We have a place where we can store the feed dry and safe, very close to the chicken coop, where the chickens can get to it, where the mice won't get to it, okay, where the cows won't get to it either. We just have to walk a couple feet to fill it up, and this is very important. When you build a chicken coop, when you plan a chicken's coop, plan on right next to it a rodent-free feed storage place, ideally also where the water comes in, that you can keep above frost, above freezing, so that it's comfortable to be in there. If the water or something freezes out there, you can bring it in there to thaw. It's just very important to have a room like that. It makes all the difference in the world. Also create that place so that you can easily unload your feed bags and carry them into there, so that you have a wide enough door, possibly could drive in there with a wheelbarrow or a dolly. Just think of these things and make it functional. Next element is the setup for the cleaning routine. I just touched on that lightly when I was talking about the door. If you do deep bedding, and that's what you want to do, trust me, then you will possibly only empty this whole place and clean it once a year. Now, that is a lot of material and a lot of compost, and it's typically not too heavy, so you should be fine shoveling it, but you need to think of a good workflow when you create your chicken coop, ideally, so that you can easily take it out, but then also not carry it too far when you place it. Now, I recommend that you compost this material a little further afterwards, and ideally you make it moist, and then you have another roof area or something. A tarp might work too, but not as well, where you can do that. You want to, once you have cleaned this out, really clean this coop thoroughly after that, and ideally give it some rest time. That's one of the bonus features I'm going to talk about in just a second, so that you give the coop time to really get sterilized, so to speak. Last point is predator safety, and this is quite solid, but look at this. Up here, even some of these gaps here we'll have to think about. Up here behind me, we will have to take care of all of that. There are some predators like weasels and stuff that kill chickens. They go through this where you can fit an egg through, right? So you also want to make the deep bedding rodent free, so no rats or mice come in there. it's very important that we close up these gaps here. Think of this. It is quite important in general with everything. Smooth and straight walls and edges are just good for shovels, for front end loaders, and also to keep things clean and tight, and no rodents will come in there or no other predators. Make sure they can dig in from under. Foxes love doing that because as soon as you have a stationary coop, the fox and other predators will check it out on a regular basis, and when nothing changes, like in a mobile coop that moves all the time, when nothing changes in a stationary coop, they will dig under it and try to find the most creative ways possible to get into that coop and to rob you of your eggs and chickens. Now, 2 bonus points for you. Number 1, I highly recommend switching between a winter and a summer coop. Okay? If your coop, in this winter coop, is empty during the summertime, a lot of the pests will die. Okay? Sicknesses that need the chicken to survive, after 21 or more days, they will not survive in the stable. You will basically give this place a rest. Chickens are out on pasture. Same thing, what you have used in the summertime, you won't be using in the winter. So that'll be the same principle. Second bonus point is if you have problems with mites, okay, they are often on the roosts at night when it gets cool and dark. They crawl on the chicken legs and they suck blood and they're just horrible. You can put oil on the chicken's feet, but more important, you can put it on the roosts and it basically suffocates those mites. So think of that if you have those issues. So guys, this was some key elements and tips for building your chicken coop, but I want to say one more thing. If you build a chicken coop, I think it is extremely important that it fits your life and everything involved and around and part of your life. You need to know where you place that chicken coop so that you think of all the elements. Possibly, maybe you want to use that space differently at some point in the future. Or maybe it's too far away, or you want to be able to add on to it. Basically, this is something we think about in holistic management and specifically in the holistic land planning. And it is very important that you don't just build a chicken coop or you even assume that chickens are right for you. And I just want to encourage you guys, learn about what we call holistic management. I think you all understand that you need to manage your life, your finances and your land all together because it's all connected. That's what we call holistic management. And so look into it. I have a video course available on our website. It's low price for anybody to really dive into it, understand and learn the basics, and then you can start from there. Check it out. Our website is thesoundfarmer.net. And I think you can really benefit from that because even though this how-to info might be great, holistic management ensures that we think of all the aspects. So I really want to encourage you to do that. Okay guys, that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you check out the other videos that we have out on the channel. Every Saturday we're doing live streams, but I also want to announce that we are gonna be coming out with a video or videos as we are gonna show us putting this chicken coop, putting it together and getting chickens and starting it all up. So that's gonna come up, so stay tuned, subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.